Hello and welcome to the ARCA Series Rewind Show. I'm Garth Allen. This is Racing News Now. And if you haven't done it already, consider going down below to hit that subscribe button for me. It is free to do. We're currently still in our hashtag race to 1K. The quicker we get to 1,000 subscribers, the quicker we'll be able to give you mobile live streams from the track this season, which will greatly improve the quality of that coverage we're able to give you from the track. If you missed it earlier today on the watch party, our first race we will be at live from the track this season will be the ARCA East race at Nashville here in a couple of weeks on May 8th. We'll also be at the main ARCA race at Toledo later in May as well. We'll be at much more than that this season, but those are the first two races we will be live at the track this season. So the quicker you get us to 1,000 subscribers, the quicker we're going to be able to do live streams for you from the track and give you live coverage of those races. So if you haven't done it already, hit that subscribe button. There will be much more coverage than that now that we're getting into the meat of the ARCA Series season. So let's talk about Talladega today. This was quite the race. I was pleasantly surprised by this. This was very easily the best ARCA Talladega race in years. Hands down, bar none, this race was great. This race was great. It had its issues, but overall, this was a fantastic race and a huge improvement over what we have seen from Superspeedway races at Daytona and Talladega over the past few years. This was fantastic. I don't know what happened. I don't know what they put in the water this morning for the drivers to drink, but it was great. That's the only word I can use to describe it. It was great. So let's talk about it. The 2021 General Tire 200 from the Talladega Superspeedway. 76 laps around the 2.66 mile behemoth that is Talladega Superspeedway. 4 caution flags in this race for a total of 25 laps. Nothing for an incident until late. You see a competition caution at lap 10 because of the rain this morning, just to check tire wear and that sort of thing. Normal procedure there. We had the brake caution at lap number 39. And then as we got into the last half of the race, that's when things started popping off. Lap 62, that was the first incident of the day that caused a caution. Before that, we had some contact between Gracie Trotter and another car, which gave her some contact. They had to come down pit road and fix that. She ended up a couple laps down. That was very early in the race. Did not cause a caution, but really ruined her day. And we still have yet to see a full race out of Gracie Trotter because of all the bad luck she's had this season. We have yet to see what she can do in a full race, which has been really disappointing. I'd really like to see what she can do in that Venturini car in a full race. Hopefully she pushes the bad luck off soon. Lap 62 though, Greg Van Alst got a bad bump draft from Nick Sanchez as they came through the tri-oval, turned him left straight into Ty Gibbs. They spin down the track. Van Alst actually spins back up the track, catches John Ferrier. I thought this was going to be so much bigger of a wreck than it was, but those were the only 3 cars involved. But took out some pretty heavy hitters in this race, namely Van Alst and Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs had led 13 laps up to this point, was in serious contention after starting on the pole, and Van Alst was really fast today too. He was in the top 5 when this happened, so very unfortunate that this happened to them. John Ferrier also in the top 10 at the time, so 3 pretty competitive cars taken out in this one late in the race. Then on lap 72, after contact with Drew Dollar on the backstretch, Dollar kind of got into the left rear of Derek Lancaster, which turned Lancaster to the left, bounced him off the right side of Corey Heim, bounced him hard into the outside wall, and destroyed that car. Car went up in flames. Unfortunately, did cause some issues for Derek Lancaster. He has been transported to an area hospital with 2nd and 3rd degree burns. So definitely keep Derek Lancaster in your thoughts and prayers going forward. As scary incident, he was able to get out of the car, walk under his own power to the stretcher that the safety crew had there waiting for him, but again was transported to an area hospital with 2nd and 3rd degree burns, is on a ventilator currently. Definitely a scary incident for Derek Lancaster. But that would be the last caution of the day. Set up a 1-lap shootout. We've had 3 main ARCA races this year that have all come down to a 1-lap shootout. Why? Why is this a thing? We have been robbed of good finishes in every single race this season by 1-lap shootouts. Why? Why is that a thing? And the thing is, if that's my biggest complaint about this race, ARCA, you can pat yourselves on the back because this was a good race. But that doesn't change the fact that one-lap shootouts need to go. They really have to go. I don't understand the need for this. I don't see why we have to do this. One-lap shootouts, though, have to go. While this was an exciting last lap on a one-lap shootout, this could have been so much better of a finish had we had one more lap and it had been a traditional green-white checker. One particular car took the lead down the backstretch. Not going to spoil it for you until we get to the results if you didn't see the race. One particular car took the lead down the backstretch, and after he got pushed to the lead, nobody really got enough momentum to get there to him. A couple cars got a little bit of a run in the tri-oval, kind of got there, but never really had enough time. And that's the problem with a one-lap shootout, because it takes so long, especially at Daytona and Talladega, it takes so long for these cars to get up to speed at these tracks. One lap is not enough to get really hardly any racing in before we're done. You get about half a lap, if that. It's really not even half a lap. It probably turns 3 and 4 before they're finally really up to full song, and that's just not fair. It feels like we got cheated out of a better finish. Now, would it have changed the finish? Would we have gotten a different winner? I don't know. Would we have wanted a different winner? I'm sure some people would have wanted a different winner, and some people are going to be extremely happy about the winner that we got. And that's nothing against the winner that we got. It's somebody that is definitely a friend of RNN and somebody that we love having on here. Not saying that this driver shouldn't have won. I'm just saying, would it have changed things? I don't know. Do we want it to have changed things? I don't know. But we need to look at these one-lap shootouts and really consider, is this something that we really need as a rule going forward? Personally, I don't think so. I really don't. So let's talk about your lap leaders for the day. There were a lot of them, which again is surprising for an ARCA Talladega race, because we actually had good racing today. We had 2-3 wide throughout the pack for a lot of the day. It never single filed out and got down to a 5-6 car train running away like it has at Daytona and Talladega for the past couple of years. We had good pack racing today. This was an exciting race. Every time it started to single file out and you thought, okay, here we go. This is where it happens. This is where the race starts to get boring. They single file out, 5 or 6 cars run away, and that's who's going to decide the race. No. After it got like that for a couple laps, somebody would jump out of line. We'd get a pack back going again. We'd get a second line going, and it was great. It was fantastic. But that gave us a lot of leaders to look at in this race. We had 2 drivers tie for the most laps led in this race. Both Drew Dollar and Brett Holmes led 28 laps in this race. Ty Gibbs also led double digits with 13 laps, but again, he was taken out late in that incident. Corey Heim led 5 laps in this race, as well as 1 lap apiece by Michael Harper and Derek Lancaster. Of course, we know about Derek Lancaster's incident, so he is out of the contention to win this race. So that leaves Drew Dollar and Brett Holmes, who both led the most laps, both serious contenders. Drew Dollar won this race last year. Brett Holmes, it's his home track. He was very competitive all day. Reigning series champion. Corey Heim won at Daytona. Then you got Michael Harper. It is Daytona. He isn't a fast track car. That's not a car you would typically look at as someone that could win a race, but it's Talladega. You never know at races like this who might sneak in and win this race. So, who out of those drivers was able to pull it off at the end of the race in a one-lap shootout and pick up the dub at Talladega? It would be Corey Heim, stealing the Superspeedway sweep for the 2021 season. He won at Daytona, backed it up at Talladega, was not the leader on the final restart with 1 lap to go. I'll give him credit. That was my biggest worry with a one-lap shootout, was that whoever was leading or whoever was second, depending, somebody from the front row would be the one to win this race on a one-lap shootout, and that was not the case, as Brett Holmes and Nick Sanchez were the front row on the final restart, and Corey Heim, with a push from Drew Dollar down the backstretch, got to the lead, and nobody was ever able to get back to him after that point, and Corey Heim takes home the victory at Talladega. 2 for 3 so far this season. He won at Daytona and at Talladega. Ty Gibbs took the win at Phoenix. This is going to be a good championship battle, although, if you look at next week, we're going back to the place that he picked up his first career ARCA victory at Kansas. So you got to look at Corey Heim to be the favorite in that race as well. Starting to build a bit of a gap early in the season, as we'll see when we get to the point standings later in the Rewind show. Dave Mader came out of nowhere at the end of this race, snuck in for his first top 5 finish since Talladega 1991. So congratulations to Dave Mader III. A fantastic run out of Dave Mader at the end of this race to pull off a second place finish. Came close, had a run on Corey Heim there coming through the tri-oval, just didn't have the time to really make the move coming to the line. Still a fantastic finish though. We're going to work on getting Dave Mader on an interview here in the next couple of days to talk to him about this great run. I know there's a lot of you that probably want to hear from Dave Mader after this race. Nick Sanchez came home in third, definitely his best race of the season after bad luck at Daytona and Phoenix. Finally able to pull off a really good run, unfortunately not quite able to get there for the win at the end of the race. Drew Dollar, another solid run for him, came home in fourth. And Brett Holmes, the hometown hero, had to settle for fifth at the end of the race after leading at the white flag on the restart. Just had too much going on behind him off of turn 2, didn't know where to block, and unfortunately it was a no-win situation for Brett Holmes coming off of turn 2. He goes to block high, then the bottom lane starts going, and by the time he gets back to the bottom lane, they're already there, and he's stuck in the middle, and that was it for Brett Holmes. So unfortunately not a lot he could do there on the last lap. That's just Talladega. Rest of your top 10, Thad Moffitt with a strong 6th place finish. Andy Jankowiak, not really a factor most of the day, somehow snuck his way into the top 10 at the end of the race for a solid 7th place finish. Kyle Sieg, another solid top 10 run for Kyle Sieg. That's 3 top 10s to start the season. Great start for him. Eric Condell with a great top 10, as well as Scott Melton also in the top 10. Some names you're not really used to seeing a lot of the time in the top 10. Great to see some of these guys picking up top 10 finishes today. Second page, 11 through 20th. Jack Wood just kind of seemed off all day. Like, he was in the top 10 early and then really faded in the middle part of the race. Never really rebounded. Came home in 11th. Just seemed like a disappointing day all around for Jack Wood. Not really sure what's going on there, because this is a car that was, as we know with Sam Mayer last year, extremely fast. I don't know what the issue is so far, but it just seems like outside of, I think it was New Smyrna, the East race, where he was fairly fast. Outside of that, he's not really done a whole lot to start this season. So hopefully he's able to turn that around, and that 21 car can put up some good finishes going forward, as they are running the full ARCA Menard Series season. Not the East schedule, full main ARCA Menard Series. Tony Bradinger, her first start at Talladega, came home with a solid 12th place finish at the end of the race in the 02 for Young's Motorsports. Jason Kitzmiller, gotta give a shout out to Jason Kitzmiller. 15th, not indicative of how he ran today. In the top 5 at one point in this race. Fantastic run for Jason Kitzmiller. Huge kudos to that 97 team. He was fast today. I'm not sure he had race winning speed, but it is Talladega. If he'd have been in position at the end of this race, you never know what can happen. Good run out of Jason Kitzmiller. Good building point for he and that team. Nice to see them have a strong run, even though it didn't quite end off the way it should have. Thomas Prater making his return. He was in the top 10 at one point as well. Came home in 17th. Final page, 21st through 29th. Benny Chastain had an interesting day. Almost caused a wreck twice in the span of about 500 feet coming through the tri-oval at one point. He gave a real scare to the leaders as they tried to come by him in the middle of the tri-oval. The two drivers battling for the lead. I think they ended up having to split him, if I remember correctly. One below him, one above him. And then, as they came through the tri-oval, after they'd gotten by him, he got loose or something on the bottom lane. I'm not really sure what exactly happened there, but he shoved up the track into the way of Drew Dollar, who was coming much faster than Benny Chastain was moving. Dollar had to take an evasive maneuver up the track to avoid him, makes contact with Nick Sanchez, door slams Sanchez through the tri-oval to try and avoid Benny Chastain. I thought we were about to see the big one there. Somehow, both Dollar and Sanchez were able to keep it straight at that point. Kudos to both of them, but Benny Chastain was really worrying me. I like Benny Chastain. I think it's great to see him out here driving this car, but he scared me a couple times today. He really scared me. Gracie Trotter ended up in 22nd, 2 laps down at the end of this race. She had some speed there. She ended up in the lead pack late in the race after she'd gotten things sorted out and they'd had a couple cautions to re-rack the field. Definitely had some speed and could have possibly done something had she been on the lead lap. Unfortunately, that shot was taken away from her early in the race. Like I said earlier, I'd really like to see what she can do with a full race without the bad luck taking her out early in this race, because I think she's definitely got the potential to be a very talented driver. It's just a matter of getting rid of the bad luck and having a full race under her and being able to do something with that full race. Derek Lancaster, after his scary incident late in the race, came home in 23rd. Your three drivers caught up in the crash at lap 61. 26th was Greg Van Alst, 27th Ty Gibbs, 28th John Ferrier. So that's your results from the General Tire 200. Like I said, we're going to try to get Dave Mader on here in the next couple days, because I know you want to hear thoughts from him, or I figure you would like to hear thoughts from him. I'd like to hear thoughts from him. So we're going to try to get Dave Mader on here in the next couple of days. Of course, we're going to have Corey Heim on to talk about this big win and continuing to extend his points lead. Might even have another driver or two on to talk about this race as well. So keep an eye out. Again, if you're not subscribed, definitely do that. Go down below, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss a thing. And I'm told there's another level to notifications now. Apparently there's something in settings you've got to go to, like, prioritize that. I don't know. YouTube's really screwing with that stuff, but might be something to look into as well. If maybe you're not getting all the notifications from RNN and you want to be, might be something to look into. I'm not 100% sure how that works. I need to look into it, but I'm told there's another level to that now. Anyway, let's take a look at your point standings. Following this third race of the main ARCA Menard Series schedule, Corey Heim, not surprisingly, still your points leader after 3 races, after having won 2 of the 3 and having a top 5 in the other race as well. So great start to the season for Corey Heim. Currently leads his teammate Drew Dollar by 14 points. Of course, Dollar not running the full schedule this year, as he is splitting time between the ARCA seat and a KBM truck this season. So Dollar, not, at least as of now, not running the full season. That might change. I don't know. If he's running this well, it seems like it might be smart to leave him in the rest of the season. I don't know. I'm not Venturini Motorsports. I don't do the thinking for them, so maybe they will. I don't know. Personally, for me, I feel like if you're running this well to start the season, it might not be the worst idea to run the full season if they can figure out how to get the sponsorship lined up for that. Kyle Sieg has actually moved up to 3rd in points now. Great start to the season for him. They were talking about on the broadcast today that he is not running the full season. In fact, it looks like they're only running the companion races. So any race that they're there with the Xfinity car for Ryan Sieg, they'll run Kyle in an ARCA car. So probably not a lot of ARCA races left this season for Kyle, but with this strong start of the season, I would make the same argument for him as I would for Drew Dollar. If you're going to run this well, might not be the worst idea to try and run the full season. You never know what can happen going forward. You might sneak in a win or two. Corey Heim could have some bad luck. Drew Dollar could have some bad luck. Ty Gibbs could have some bad luck. And all of a sudden you find yourself fighting for a championship. Might not be the worst idea to at least add a few races early in the season, see if this consistency continues, and you might put yourself in position for a championship. Couldn't hurt. Thad Moffitt also in the top 5 as well. He stays stationary in 5th. Rest of your top 10, Jack Wood has moved up to 6th. Brett Holmes up to 7th, although he is, again, not running the full season. Nick Sanchez has rebounded up to 8th after his bad start to the season in Daytona and Phoenix. Tim Richmond currently 9th, and Tony Bradinger, after starting the first 3 races of the season, she has moved into the top 10 as well. But that's your point standings following the General Tire 200, and I believe that will do it for us on this ARCA Rewind show. Like I said at the beginning, we're getting down into the meat of the ARCA schedule now. I think it's 25 races in 27 weeks coming up between main ARCA, ARCA East, and ARCA West. So we're going to have a lot of coverage for you here coming up. A lot of coverage from the track for you as well. Like I said, our first race of the season, a couple weeks here at Nashville for the ARCA East race at Nashville. We will be there for you for that one, as well as I think it's May 22nd for the main ARCA race at Toledo. That's our first couple of races. We'll be at a lot more than that this season, but those are the 2 that we're ready to announce now that we will be at. So keep an eye out for that. If you're not subscribed, help us get to that 1,000 subscriber mark. You won't be disappointed by the live streams you see from the track this season. And if you got friends that might enjoy RNN, let them know about it too. See if they might be up for subscribing, and you might help us get there just a bit quicker. not Rewind Show, this is the Rewind Show. Watch party for Kansas, of course, next Saturday. I believe that's 12:30 p.m. is the start time for that. So we will have a watch party for that race next week, of course, and a Rewind Show for that, as we will for every ARCA race this season. We'll have a Rewind Show for every ARCA race, and every race that we're not physically at, we will have a watch party as well. Kind of hard to do a watch party from the media center if you're at the track. If we're not there, we're going to be doing a watch party for you. So keep an eye out for all of that, and maybe a little bit more coverage coming down the pipeline this season. So, you know, definitely want to stay tuned, as we're going to be doing bigger and better things this season with RNN now that we're coming out of the restrictions and things are loosening up, and we're able to get back and do some more stuff for you. Definitely be an exciting year in 2021 going forward. But as always, we want to thank our Patreon supporter, Regional Manager William Holmes. Thank you as always for your support. It is greatly appreciated. If you'd like to be a patron of RNN, the link is down below in the description. Patreon.com/racingnews. Now, not required by any means, definitely not, but it is very much appreciated when you want to support RNN in that way. But that's going to about do it for us on this ARCA Rewind Show. So at that, this has been the ARCA Menard Series Rewind Show. I'm Garth Allen for Racing News Now.